Good day to all of you, and today I am going to talk to you about the theater of the absurd, and this has a significant bearing on the play Waiting for Godot by Samuel Beckett, which is prescribed in your sixth paper of MA Final English. So, what is the theatre of the absurd? The theatre of the absurd is a term which is coined by the critic Martin Esslin for the work of a number of playwrights, mostly written in the 1950s and the 1960s. This term is derived from an essay by the French philosopher Albert Camus. Now, Albert Camus, in his book Myth of Sisyphus, which was written in 1942, he was the first person to define the human situation as basically meaningless and absurd. The Absurd Plays by Samuel Beckett, Arthur Adamov, Eugene Ionesco, Jean Genet, Harold Pinter, and others all share the view that man is inhabiting a universe with which he is out of sync or out of key, and its meaning is indecipherable, and his place within it is without purpose. Therefore, he is bewildered, troubled, and obscurely threatened. Now, the origins of the theatre of the absurd are rooted in the avant-garde experiments in art of the 1920s and the 1930s. It was strongly influenced by the traumatic experience of the horrors of the Second World War, which showed the total impermanence of any values, shook the validity of any conventions, and highlighted the precariousness of human life and its fundamental meaninglessness and arbitrariness. The trauma of living from 1945 under the threat of nuclear annihilation also seems to have been an important factor in the rise of this new theatre. At the same time, the theatre of the absurd also seems to have been a reaction to the disappearance of the religious dimension from contemporary life. The absurd theatre can be seen as an attempt to restore the importance of myth and ritual to our age by making man aware of the ultimate realities of his condition by instilling in him again the lost sense of cosmic wonder and primeval anguish. The absurd theatre hopes to achieve this by shocking man out of an existence that has become trite, mechanical, and complacent. It is felt that there is a mystical experience in confronting the limits of human condition. As a result, absurd plays assumed a highly unusual, innovative form, directly aiming to startle the viewer, shaking him out of this comfortable, conventional life of everyday concerns. In the meaningless and godless post Second World War world, it was no longer possible to keep using such traditional art forms and standards that had ceased being convincing and had lost their validity. The theatre of the absurd openly rebelled against conventional theatre. In fact, it was anti theatre, it was surreal, illogical, conflictless, and plotless. The dialogue seemed total gobbledygook. Not unexpectedly, the theatre of the absurd first met with incomprehension and rejection. One of the most important aspects of absurd drama was its distrust of language as a means of communication. Language had become a vehicle of conventionalized, stereotyped, meaningless exchanges. Words failed to express the essence of human experience, not being able to penetrate beyond its surface. The theatre of the absurd constituted first and foremost an onslaught on language, showing it as a very unreliable and insufficient tool of communication. Absurd drama uses conventionalized speech, cliches, slogans, and technical jargon, which is distorts, parodies, and breakdowns. By ridiculing conventionalized and stereotyped speech patterns, the theatre of the absurd tries to make people aware of the possibility of going beyond everyday speech conventions and communicating more authentically. Conventionalized speech acts as a barrier between ourselves and what the world is really about. And in order to come into direct contact with natural reality, it is necessary to discard the false crutches of conventionalized language. Objects are much more important than language in absurd theatre. We'll continue next time.